They are not like the Panthers. They are not like the Patriots. They have enough talent where they could beat the Eagles, but wow, it would be bad if the Eagles lost this one.
You're tuned in to the Ross Tucker Football Podcast, guiding your gridiron journey, none other than your host, former NFL lineman, Ross Tucker.
Oh, yeah, it is. But it's not just any Ross Tucker Football Podcast. It is a Finish Strong Friday, Picks Friday, Winners Friday edition of the mighty RTFP. Listen, you're all winners if you listen to any of our shows, or, of course, if you go ahead and watch us, youtube.com/Ross Tucker NFL. But you can especially be winners if you take a listen to any of our other shows, Fantasy Feast, Even Money, College Draft. From time to time, we're going to drop some of those other shows on here to the Ross Tucker Football Podcast feed because we think they're pretty good, and we want more of you guys to check them out, whether you're really into fantasy betting or college or not. So keep an eye on that. I am just realizing right now that I did not pick winners for a Winners Friday, so I am a loser to start this Friday. But before I get to my game picks, before I get to the recap of last night's game, I should let you know that that means I'll pick winners for Monday. So all you need to do is spread the word via social media, at Ross Tucker Pod. Any reply, any comment, any quote post, sponsor confirmation email winner. Take advantage of any of our sponsors. Email me, ross@rosstucker.com, with whatever email confirmation you get for doing so. I love that because then I can pick you as the winner and send you a signed press pass. Got a bunch of awesome ones already this year. YouTube shout out, youtube.com/Ross Tucker NFL. You can even just rate and review the show, which is awesome. But first, we got to get to the Thursday night football recap. It's presented by Labatt Blue Light. Drink some this weekend with your friends and family, living life to the power of we, watching football. Always enjoy this delicious beer responsibly. Labatt USA, Buffalo, New York.
The Big Show.
Thursday night was a fun one. It felt like the 49ers might blow yet another lead, but in this case, they didn't. They got off to a fast start. They were running the ball all over the place. Jordan Mason was running it very effectively until he got hurt. Came back for one play in the second half, and then he was done. So that's a big injury to keep an eye on. Deebo Samuel had a huge play. The Niners did have to settle for a couple of field goals early as their red zone woes continued, but they were still up 23-3 before Laviska Shenault had a kickoff return for a touchdown. Next thing you know, it's 23-10, and then the Seahawks go on a long drive, 23-17, and everybody's on social media saying the Niners are going to blow it again, they're going to blow it again. Well, they didn't. They got a clutch interception from the rookie, Renardo Green, and after that, Kittle had his second touchdown of the night. Ultimately, the Niners were the better team. I mean, Brock Purdy played extremely well. Nick Bosa was awesome. I loved how Kittle and Juszczyk jumped into the stands where their wives were after they scored touchdowns. That was incredible. And the Seahawks kind of have to go back to the drawing board. Supposed to be a nice weekend out, at least here in a lot of places. Pennsylvania or Reno, Nevada, where I will be. Sounds like a great weekend to walk around your house and see which doors you should get replaced or which windows need to get replaced, or maybe just do something that your significant other will absolutely adore you for. Do a bathroom remodel, or at least get a shower instead of one of those fiberglass bathtubs. This offer right now from West Shore Home is insane. 72 months, 0% interest, up to $1,500 off. Who does that? Who does 72 months, 0% interest? That's 6 years. That's 2 presents from now, and gives you a discount as well. I mean, it's like you're saving money by doing this project now because of the financing involved. WestShoreHome.com/Ross. That's WestShoreHome.com Ross. I love tailgating. I love contests. And I love Smirnoff because they're giving fans in select areas of the country a chance to win the ultimate game day experience. From tickets to sideline passes and much more. Just head to WeDoGameDays.com until November 15th to enter for your chance to win. Smirnoff, We Do Game Days. Please drink responsibly. Smirnoff number 21 vodka, distilled from grain, 40% alcohol by volume. The Smirnoff Company, New York, New York. Please not share with anyone under legal drinking age. No purchase necessary. 21 plus. Ends 11/15/24. See rules at website for participating area and other important details. Sponsored by Diageo Americas, Incorporated, New York, New York.
Want to know which team is going to win every single game on Sunday? Then listen up.
All right, Ross, let's get into the picks here. We're starting with the Jacksonville Jaguars. They're at the Chicago Bears.
Over across the pond. Is this another one at Tottenham or is this at Wembley?
I believe this is Tottenham.
That's not how we say it.
Well, I actually know how to pronounce it for once, so I actually call it by how it's actually pronounced. Tottenham.
Which is what?
Tottenham.
No. It's Tottenham. Have you never heard a British person say it? Tottenham. That's how you say it. Jack, come on. No, you did the right phonetic pronunciation, but not. You got to put some effort into it. Say it like a British person.
Tottenham.
Not bad. I appreciate the effort. I'll take it. I'll also take the Chicago Bears in this game, although I think it's going to be an awesome game, right? The Jags coming off their first win, by far their best game of the year, at least offensively. Defensively, they kind of got tore up by old Joe Flacco a little bit, but offensively, Tank Bigsby, Brian Thomas, Trevor Lawrence, that was a good sign for them. The problem, and you know I say this a lot, whether it's Ross Tucker Football Podcast or Even Money Betting Podcast, there is one thing you can count on in this game, and it's the Bears defense. I'm going to be curious to see whether or not offensively the Bears can kind of pick up where they left off against the Panthers, whether or not they have some momentum going into this. I just don't know that that'll be the case. I think that was mainly because it was the Panthers defense, although the Jags defense isn't any great shakes either. I'll still take the Bears, but I think it's a close, low-scoring, awesome game. Let's go 19-16. Duh, Bears.
Next up, we got probably the biggest game in the 1 o'clock window, the Commanders. They're at the Ravens.
The Battle of the Beltway. I am so fired up. Do you know what the numbers are of the Beltway around each of the cities?
No, I've...
Going around Baltimore, it's 695. Going around D.C., it's 495. I don't know how many other cities actually have beltways, by the way, but Baltimore and D.C. do, and that's where you don't drive through the city. You go around them on the beltway, so that's why they call it the Beltway Battle. I got to go with the Ravens here. I mean, listen, Commanders have been super impressive. Jaden Daniels, amazing. You guys know, even going back to before the draft with everybody, Chase Daniel and Greg Cosell, everybody came on the show and Phil Simms, how they raved about Jaden Daniels. I've been a believer for a long time in that young man, and he's been awesome. And by the way, you can score against this Ravens defense. You know, the Bengals just proved that yet again last weekend. So I'm expecting a lot of points. The Commanders defense has been better than I anticipated, but I don't think they're ready for this. I mean, how about Greg on yesterday's show raving about Lamar Jackson? That was as excited as Greg has ever been to talk about Lamar Jackson. Give me the Ravens in a shootout. Let's go 34-28 Ravens.
Next up, we've got the Arizona Cardinals. They're at the Green Bay Packers.
Another juicy matchup, right? Both teams got big wins out in California. Now they're going against each other. I'm always curious with a team like the Cardinals, right? Was the game against the Niners a one-off? And, you know, they're not really going to be able to do anything after that? Or is that really, you know, who they are? Can that springboard the Cardinals on to bigger and better things. We really don't know. We will find out on Sunday. I'm hopeful, by the way, that it springs them on to bigger and better things. I just think it's sort of more fun when that's the case. So we shall see. They definitely need to get James Conner going. Arizona defensively, still a bunch of very unknown guys. We'll see whether or not they can slow down this Packers attack. I'll take Green Bay at home. They've been pretty consistent, whereas Arizona is kind of up and down. You don't really know what to expect there. So give me the Packers. I'm backing the Pack at home against the Cardinals. How about 24-17 Green Bay?
Next, we've got the Vince Wilfork Bowl. The Houston Texans there at the New England Patriots.
Nice. Now, do you even remember Wilfork for the Patriots?
Yeah, he played there when I was like 12. I wasn't like a toddler.
Got it. Okay. I couldn't remember how long Vince was there because he was there when I was there. So he couldn't have been there when you were 12.
Pretty sure he was there from like 04 to 2014.
He was definitely there in 04 because I was there for sure. You might be right. Wow, you know that stuff off the top of your head. That's impressive. What a good player he was. What a bad team the Patriots are. I mean, they're bad. They arguably have the worst skill group and the worst offensive line in the league. I mean, that is no way to go through life as a rookie quarterback in Drake May. Good luck to that young man. That is going to be very, very difficult for him. Houston, though, without Nico Collins. And so without Nico Collins, it felt like last week against the Bills, they were kind of a different team. I'm not going to make them my larceny lock of the week because of the fact that they don't have Nico Collins and a little bit of the unknown that is Drake May. But I like the Texans in this game quite a bit. I don't think the Patriots score very many points. 24-13 Texans.
Next, we got a divisional battle. The Bucs, they're at the Saints.
Ooh. So Spencer Rattler getting his first start. I love when someone gets their first start because, you know, how many guys have ever started an NFL game, right? Like, I don't know. I think someone said to me 27,000 players have ever suited up for an NFL game. I wonder how many have actually started an NFL game. Get on that, Jack. Research Jack, producer Jack. I would love to know that. But at any rate, I also think it's cool when it's a quarterback because you never know. Like maybe this guy ends up becoming a really good player at the position, right? There's all kinds of unknowns when you see stuff like that. Right now, I like the Bucs to win the game. The Saints just feels like they're beat up. The Bucs coming off extra time to rest, heal, prepare. Now, the Bucs are dealing with some stuff, right? With the hurricane and having to worry about where they live and their families and all that stuff, which could be a distraction. Fortunately for them, I guess, they've been in New Orleans since Tuesday. Hopefully they're able to get some type of normal preparation. But that would be impressive if Spencer Rattler came out in his first start and beat the Bucs. Might happen. I'm not going to predict it to happen. Give me the Bucs the way Baker's been playing. Let's go 24-17 Bucs.
Next, the Cleveland Browns. They're at the Philadelphia Eagles.
Right, and I thought about the Texans, but instead I'm going to go with the Eagles as my larceny lock. By larceny weeded bourbon. Lock in a win and seize tonight. Bardstown, Kentucky. 46% alcohol by volume. Think wisely. Drink wisely. I do not think the Browns are as bad as they've been playing, but that's how they've been playing. All kinds of mistakes, both sides of the ball, the types of things that get you beat. They are not like the Panthers. They are not like the Patriots. They have enough talent where they could beat the Eagles, but wow, it would be bad if the Eagles lost this one, right? Coming off a bye, Eagles are getting A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith back. Obviously, Lane Johnson as well. I'm expecting the Eagles to come out and play really, really well in this one, although the Browns defense with Jim Schwartz will play well as well. Let's go 24-13 Eagles as my lock of the week.
Next, we've got the Indianapolis Colts. They're at the Tennessee Titans.
And as of when we're recording this, we don't know who the quarterback will be for either team. It certainly feels like both teams could potentially hide behind health and start the guy they'd rather start, Mason Rudolph and Joe Flacco, as opposed to the guy they feel like they're supposed to start, Will Levis and Anthony Richardson. Makes this game quite a bit of a toss-up to talk about here, a couple days out without really knowing what's going to happen there. I guess I'm going to go with... Actually, I have no idea, man. I have no idea who to go with in this one. I'll go with the Titans because their defense has been so consistent and so good, and they're playing at home, and they're coming off a bye, but I really don't know. It's funny, Jack, even the score prediction would change drastically based on whether or not Flacco is playing in the game or not for me. But I'm going to say that the Titans win a lower scoring game because of their defense. Let's go 17-16 Tennessee.
Next up, the Chargers. They're at the Denver Broncos.
This is a fun matchup because the Chargers obviously are getting healthier. They needed to get healthier. And, people always complain about the early bye week until they've got a bunch of guys injured early in the season, and it comes right the exact time, which is the case for the Chargers with their bye, with their offensive tackles, with Justin Herbert. Meanwhile, this will sound very similar to what I just said about the Broncos. Their defense comes to play every week. It's been super impressive. So typically I would lean to the Broncos because of that, but I'm not going to do it. I like the Chargers coming off the bye. I like the Chargers getting healthier, and the Broncos have already won 3 straight. They don't feel like a team to me that wins 4 straight. So give me the Chargers to get a rare win in Denver for them. Not a ton of points. Let's go 21-20. Go, Chargers, go.
Next up, we've got a 1972 AFC Divisional Round rematch. Steelers, Raiders.
I mean, that was even 7 years before I was born. How do you know that?
How do you not know that game? You don't know what that game is, do you?
I know what the game is.
Okay. It's the Immaculate Reception.
I'm impressed that you even know it's divisional round.
I knew it was a playoff game. I had to confirm if it was a divisional or championship.
By the way, side note, Franco Harris's son, Doc, was a classmate of mine at Princeton. So one time I saw him after like a basketball game or something, or parents' weekend, and I had several, let's call them Labatt Blue Lights, and I said, "Yo, Franco, did you catch that? Did you catch that pass?" I'm sure that had never happened to him before. I'm sure he had never heard that one. Unbelievable. Gosh, I was that guy. Whatever, dude. I was like 19 and I was having a good time. Give me the Steelers. I'm not taking the Raiders with this Aiden O'Connell at quarterback, no Christian Wilkins, no Devontae Adams. Steelers lost 2 in a row. They never lose 3 in a row with Mike Tomlin. Give me Pittsburgh. Not a lot of points. It's a typical Steelers game. For the guy out there that points out that I always say 20-17, let's go Steelers 20, Raiders 17.
Next up, the Falcons. They're at the Carolina Panthers.
So I like the Falcons quite a bit in this one. And if you heard me on the Even Money Betting podcast, I very rarely lay points because I just don't really believe in that, especially a lot of points and for an away team. But I'm doing it for the Falcons because their offense is kind of in a rhythm now. The Panthers' defense is dreadful, and I'm not sure there's anything they can really do about it at this point. So I think Kirk Cousins and the Falcons put up a bunch of points. Might be a decent amount of points from Carolina as well, but I'm still going to take the Falcons to win the game. Let's go 27-20. Atlanta gets the win over the Carolina Panthers.
Next up, the Detroit Lions. They're at the Dallas Cowboys.
How about them Cowboys? Still getting beat up, man. I mean, now they lose Marshawn Nealand. We'll see, whether or not Micah can get back for this game. I have no idea. I know this much. The Lions, the last time they played, that looked like last year's offense. That looked super impressive from the Lions, what they did to the Seahawks in that Monday night game before the bye. You never really know, though, Jack, coming out of the bye, if it's like the Lions will pick up where they left off or they'll be rusty as a result of the bye. This is the first week this year where we have teams coming back from a bye. Obviously, they all sort of respond to it, handle it differently, so you don't really know whether or not they'll come out of the bye. So we shall see. I like the Lions to win the game because I just think the Cowboys are a little bit too beat up in this one. If the Cowboys win this one, right, they can win back-to-back games against the Steelers and the Lions, as beat up as they are, that would be super impressive. I'm not going to predict that to happen, though. I'll take Danny Campbell and the boys. By the way, just side note, Jack, I strongly dislike this time of year when teams haven't played the same number of games. For the standings, it makes it harder to know what their record is, right? Like, I now want to fast forward to week 12 or whatever it is, week 11 maybe, where there's no more buys, because my brain just has a tough time handling that. At any rate, let's go with the Lions to win this one. I don't know that Mike Zimmer and the Cowboys defense will be able to pull another rabbit out of their hat and slow down this Lions defense, or this Lions offense, I should say. Detroit 24, Dallas 20. Good game, fun game in the late afternoon window.
Next, the Cincinnati Bengals at the New York Giants. Two teams I do believe have the same amount of games played, so hopefully that helps you out.
Yes, I can see that, Jack. I meant more for the standings, to remember like what a team's record is, right? Because now, a couple weeks from now, we'll get to the point where like half the teams have had byes and half haven't. So you're like, I know they only had lost one game. Are they 6-1 or are they 5-1? That's the way it goes. This feels like a sneaky huge game, right? If the Bengals lose this game, like, they're pretty much done. I mean, they're not totally done because 10-7 could still do it, get you in. But the Bengals are in a bad way, let's put it that way, if they lose this game. Meanwhile, for the G-Men, a lot of people left them for dead earlier. If they win this game, then people will be talking a lot differently about the Giants at 3-3. They lead the NFL in sacks. Their defense has been excellent, certainly much better than a lot of people anticipated. And then offensively, Daniel Jones is playing pretty decent, and I think deserves a lot of credit for how he's been playing. I like the Bengals to get this win just because they absolutely have to. They're desperate. Wouldn't be surprised if it's the Giants, though. We'll see Malik Neighbors' status. That's obviously a huge one in this game. I'll go with the Bengals to get the win. It's tough because the Giants' defense has been so good, but the Bengals' offense has been so good. I'll kind of middle it there. I'll go 24-23 Cincinnati.
And we'll wrap things up Monday night. Buffalo Bills, they're at the New York Jets.
Not much to talk about in this game, obviously. Nothing's happened with the Jets this week. Just kind of status quo. I don't know, honestly, like, what's worse, that Aaron Rodgers and Woody Johnson said on Monday night that they didn't talk about Robert Saleh? Like, is it better that they, you can believe them or not, but let's just believe them. The owner was going to fire the head coach the next day and didn't say anything to the quarterback, like didn't get his opinion, didn't talk about the head coach at all, and then just totally shocked him out of the blue by firing him the next day. Doesn't seem all that believable. At any rate, they're going to play a football game on Monday night. Jeff Ulbrich made the change. Todd Downing is now the play caller for the New York Jets. We'll see if that makes any type of difference in this one. I guess I kind of wonder how Aaron Rodgers even feels about that because Nathaniel Hackett is his guy. I mean, at this point, you might as well have just made Rodgers like player coach, player GM coach. Certainly made him the play caller like Johnny Unitas back in the day. I'd actually like to see how Aaron Rodgers would do as the play caller. I think he would do pretty well. I think it'd be fun to watch. He should just do that. What are they going to do? Cut him? They're not going to cut him. I mean, that'd be amazing. Aaron Rodgers just calling his own plays, and after the game, he tells everybody, yeah, I just call my own plays. He would only tell you that, by the way, if they won the game, which I don't think they will do. I'm going to go with the Buffalo Bills. I'm torn on this one. This feels like a true toss-up game. I just don't see the Bills. Either one of these teams, one of them is losing 3 games in a row, which is obviously really, really bad. I don't see that being the Bills. I think they're ultimately the better team, the better coach team. The question is whether or not the Jets get sort of a boost from having, a new head coach and whether that gives them a spark, which is what their owner, Woody Johnson, said he's looking for. We'll see. But the Bills can't lose 3 in a row. And so I think that the Bills get this win. I like Josh Allen a lot more than I like Aaron Rodgers in terms of the way they're playing so far this year. Let's say it's Bills 23, Jets 20. Other than that, hopefully I don't forget to give out the winners on Monday, which means you still have time. Rate and review the show. Do anything on social media. The YouTube shout out. Anytime you do a YouTube comment, you might be the person that gets the video shout out, which is cool. And then obviously taking advantage of any of our sponsors. But you got to email me, ross@rosstucker.com, so I see it. Other than that, I think we're done here.
Thanks for tuning in to the Ross Tucker Football Podcast. Make sure to also check out Even Money, Fantasy Feast, and College Draft, all on the DraftKings Network, YouTube, or subscribe to the podcast on your favorite platform.
Shout out myfrontpagestory.com. This is evidently the biggest weekend for weddings the entire year, which makes sense since I actually got invited to 2 weddings this weekend, which I cannot attend. Thank you very much. If you have an anniversary or a need for a gift for anyone, myfrontpagestory.com, myfrontpagestory.com, backofficeschedule.com, humanheadnyc.com, Sporticulture, Pizza Boy Brewing.